Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera. You are watching a very special edition of Agenda Awani. It always makes me proud, so proud when I talk about local innovation and local products and technology that reach the frontier of the global industry line at that example. But before I go any further and introduce my great guest for tonight, there's a lot of lessons to be learned for tonight, a lot of inspirations too. I want to throw to my colleague, Saudara Zaiful, who will give you a better picture on ground. Then we'll link it all the way back to the big picture here. Over to you, Zaiful, on ground.
Baik, Kamarul, pada kali ini kita berada di RVR Diagnostics Sdn Bhd, di mana sebuah syarikat yang mengeluarkan kit diagnostik HIV, syphilis, malah denggi. Okey, tak apa, Zaiful mungkin kurang bersedia lagi. Mungkin saya terus kenalkan tamu saya pada malam ini. Datuk Norhalim, memang patutnya saya nak panggil dia rakan pengacara. I want to call him my co-anchor. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Malaysian Technology Development Corporation, a very, very important corporation because for the longest time they have been helping put Malaysia on the benchmark of business and technology at the same time. But I also want to interview and talk to my great guest for today, which is Dr. Avijit Roy, the Director of RVR Diagnostics Sdn Bhd, and also Mr. Lim Lee Wan, the Managing Director of Malaysian Phosphate Additives. If you Google these two companies, Malaysian Phosphate Additive and also RVR Diagnostics, there's a lot of great things, but I want to come at it maybe from a more personalized story of how the two companies came about. Maybe Dr. Avijit, you want to start first because this has a personal tinge to me because I'm a 3-time survivor of dengue, for example. And what kills the emotion is always the suspense of waiting. You know, either way, the diagnostic part of it, which is a bit complex to be discussed in the process itself. When I first got dengue with my doctors and stuff, but now through advancements of technology, stuff like that can be having a rapid kit at that, and I think that's very, very valuable because every second counts to save life.
Well, thank you for that very, very touching story. We started this company, my partner and I, some years back. We had the idea. The Honorable Prime Minister was in New York, and he had sort of made a very interesting comment. He says, you know, you guys in the U.S. have, you know, achieved some kind of career, and he says, why don't you think about coming back to Malaysia? And so we sort of used that as a catalyst. Okay. And what we did was we realized at that time that, I mean, it took a while before we came here, and it took a while to figure out that, yes, there is definitely a need. There's a need to have good medical tests, make sure that they're accurate, make sure that they're reliable, and of all things, you know, see if we can do that in Malaysia. Because in my many visits back and forth here, I've always found that there was no shortage of talent. There were very many talented people, but not everybody had the opportunity to sort of come together with whatever is available and take their inventions forward.
And being in the States give you the confidence and also the know-how of what's latest in that respect for the industry or any technological achievement, for example.
That was a very big help, there's no doubt about it. But, you know, I think you find pioneers not just in the US, but you find pioneers all over the world. And I think one of the key strategic thrust for us was actually the support we got from MTDC. I think you know, not to overstate the mission, but I think what they're doing is creating a very important ecosystem here because that's what's really needed.
Because wanting to come back alone is not enough for bringing to really help the country technology-wise. It got to be networked.
It's true, and as I was talking to Mr. Lim earlier, in a startup venture like ours, we're a relatively young company. Everything that can go wrong usually goes wrong twice.
Okay, all right, but it's worth going through the motion.
I think it's passion that actually at the end of the day that you have to believe what you're doing because that's what will carry you through the day. And I think, you know, I've been fortunate, and I think, you know, I'd like to see the next generation of very bright scientists, you know, take on and move and bring, you know, grassroots innovation forward. And I think this is important.
This is why I like doing what I do. But Saudara Lim, Mr. Lim, can you please, because you're going to make me regret not really, digging into the books for inorganic chemistry and all this stuff, about phosphate and stuff. But I tried, and then chemistry was one of my more interesting subjects for me. But I'm going to let you tell the story of the Malaysian phosphate additive, because when I was Googling it, even the literature is not so refined on the industry itself. And that, to me, give an indication how technical this can be and how challenging the industry can be.
First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Sure.
Indeed, you said it right. Chemistry is not only exciting, but
yes.
Chemistry is alive. And that is what is driving me for the past 10 years.
Okay.
My first job was actually in Shell Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah. And Shell has been a very good employer, giving me the opportunity to do various types of jobs, rotating the individual each job over three years. And thereafter, the 15 years of working in a corporation, I felt that, well, I've indeed gained that kind of a confidence, not only technically, operationally, and decided that I have to do something. And that's where I came back to Malaysia, the year 1995, with the intention of setting up a business, but not knowing what is it.
Yes.
Joined a public listed company as a business development manager, with a provisional or condition that where appropriate and affordable, I would like to take a stake in the company. Well, incidentally, the first project I developed for the company was a terminal link project that involved a huge sums of money, 100 million. I didn't take any stake. Then came the year 2000, 2001. There was the onset of the mad cow disease from Europe.
Yes.
And that is where it was identified that the main cause of mad cow disease was the meat and bone meal. And that prompted the EU countries to ban the usage of meat and bone meal for all the animal feed. Therefore, Europe would be short on dicalcium phosphate and the monodicalcium phosphates. To put it in the right perspective, phosphates are actually basic, essential ingredients of growth.
Yes.
For
in plants and in
plants,
animals and humans.
Animals and also human. So that was a time when most of the products that was otherwise exported to the Southeast Asian countries, including Malaysia, was cut off. And we saw the opportunity. There was no one producing the feed phosphates in Southeast Asia. We did our homework, our design. We are process engineers and approached MTDC for a grant. Who very kindly granted us, and that's how we started. And moving forward, no regrets.
Not only no regrets, I know you have big plans afoot. So we're going to go for the first break. But once we are back, I'm going to bring Datuk in. Datuk is itching to speak because I want Datuk to link, because I know the rigorous SOPs in MTDC to look at all these things, right? So when you look back at these two companies, when I first read about them, I'm like, this is exactly what we should be doing, but we should be doing it more and more. What are the lessons learned from here? Because sometimes it's the mental barrier for a lot of SMEs to move forward, especially in those fields that involve technology. But point is, BrainGain helps to develop the nation by bringing in technology and the expertise and even the entrepreneurial skills needed to go with the development. We'll discuss more on that after this short break. Great, you're still with us because we're sharing great stories about Malaysian entrepreneurship, about Malaysian technological advancement in the world of business. And I want to go straight to Datuk here. MTDC gives end-to-end, yes. However, it's always back to the individuals that you meet. And when you look back at RVR and you look at the chemical that is very important to us, organic mono or duo, at that, what do you see? Because in terms of the block for the mind, for a lot of entrepreneurs and SMEs especially, that's why we see when there's an economic crisis, a lot of food stalls come up and stuff. But to get the technological advancement, and like Saudara Lim said, it's when the problems in Europe and America happen. But we can't be going at the low-hanging fruit. We need to use this technology.
Well, I think some of the lessons that we have learned is, of course, people jumped into the entrepreneurship arena due to many reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, and there are many types of entrepreneurs in terms of what drives them. In the case of Lim and Avijit, and also other cases that we have funded, there is this class of entrepreneur who actually come from the technical background, but they are already in that field for a certain length of time.
Okay.
To give them an insights into the industry. They are not business people per se, but they're technical people. But they have the insights of the industry that they are in, or the one that they want going to go in. And the other thing which I think is as important as you have mentioned is that actually when they jump into the entrepreneurship arena, they bring their networks with them.
Yep.
Yeah. For example, Avijit, when he comes back, he brings with him the networks that he have developed over the years. And these networks are important for him to drive the project forward.
Okay.
Similarly with Lim, I think he has leverage on all the networks that he have developed in Singapore with Shell to actually contribute to his project. So I think if you ask me, then there are fresh graduates who jump into entrepreneurship without experience. There are experienced entrepreneurs or businessmen who started technology projects. And these are the other types that we are looking for.
Okay.
Technical people who have developed enough experience and insights and knowledge and networks and have that desire to be entrepreneurs.
So right now, there might be entrepreneurs inside organizations.
Why not?
And MTDC is interested to meet these kind of people.
Yes, definitely.
Correct. But to know more, let's see what RVR is all about. So let's go to Zaiful. Saudara Zaiful.
Baik, Kamarul, pada kali ini kita berada di RVR Diagnostics Sdn Bhd, di mana sebuah syarikat yang mengeluarkan kit diagnostik HIV, sifilis, malah denggi. Ini adalah salah satu sebuah syarikat startup yang pada saya sangat berjaya. Walaupun baru bermula 1 tahun setengah, tetapi syarikat ini telah pun berjaya untuk mengembangkan pasaran dan mengadakan hubungan dengan sebuah syarikat yang besar di Amerika Syarikat. Kita bersama dengan saudara Syaiful Zahid. Assalamualaikum Syaiful.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okey Syaiful, mungkin boleh Syaiful ceritakan sikit kepada penonton-penonton kita bagaimana sebenarnya produksi untuk kit diagnostik HIV yang dikeluarkan oleh syarikat ni.
Okey. Untuk syarikat, untuk pengeluaran produk kita ni, so macam semua orang nampak dekat sini ni adalah production area kita lah. Okey. Kita akan start dulu dengan proses namanya cutting. Okay, cutting tu maknanya kita akan buat cut tu kita akan dipotong kepada bentuk strip. Okey, strip tu maknanya kecil-kecilan yang mana kita akan pasangkan dekat kaset itu sendiri. Tiada benda-benda asing yang boleh masuk ke dalam test kit kita ini, sebab ini adalah sangat crucial sebab kita nak memastikan kualiti kita itu dijaga rapi daripada permulaannya sampailah ke penghujungnya.
Baik, terima kasih Syaiful kerana penerangan yang diberikan tadi. Baik, Cam, nampaknya sekian saja. Itu tadi kita telah pun melalui bahagian produksi. Kita akan mengikuti lagi perbincangan lanjut bersama dengan tetamu di studio. Kita terus saja bersama dengan Cam. Kembali bersama Cam.
Thank you, Zaiful. I'm going to go straight to Dr. Avijit Roy here. That's what I like about technology-based business and entrepreneurship. It looks so clean. It looks so high-tech. It looks so simple. But I'm sure it was not simple to put it together.
We make all our employees shower at least once a day. No, I think Mr. Syaiful, first of all, I should say this. The success of our products are directly dependent on the quality of our employees. And none of what we make would be possible if our employees did not consciously make the effort to keep the quality. I think it's a myth that a couple of guys show up, get some funding and run. Products happen. No, it takes a whole team to make it. Everybody, from the from the person who does the assembly to the person who actually does the cleaning, is very important.
Yep.
And you mentioned something, it's high tech, and one of the things I hope you took away from Mr. Scheifele's mentioning was the fact that one of our strategies is to adhere to a very high standard of quality, because we want to stay competitive, globally. I think that's our goal, is to be, at some point, move to be a global player. But you got to start somewhere.
Yes.
And, we can compete on one thing we know very well now, quality. And then once we establish the products in our markets, people start to rely on us. They know the brand, and then they start coming to us. And then, we move from there, from a business. We put our strategic pricing in place. So I think our strategy is to be market competitive. Okay. But when you look at us, we want everybody to understand it's quality that you're buying. You're buying peace of mind.
Agreed. I totally agree with that. Let's go for the last break. But once we are back, Datuk will always say to me that MTDC not only helps startup, but it goes all the way when you want to conquer the world also. So I'm going to get Datuk to comment on that for the future. And then I want Norhalim to come in and also explain the phosphate additive side, because I believe that's also a very important key industry for Malaysia going forward. And let's talk about all that after this break. Great again, you're still with us. We're going to have better stories here. We have a few minutes left. But I want to thank MTDC and Datuk Norhalim. I guess sometimes in Malaysia we don't thank great people and great institutions enough, because without MTDC we're not going to have great stories like this to share. And I'm going to go straight to Saudara Lee, because you can Google Malaysian phosphate additives, and if you can find a figure in the same article with the same brand below 300 million, I'm going to ask you to come here. I will buy you iced tea. But Saudara Lim, there's no small amount here for additive phosphate and inorganic at that. Can you explain to us the perspective and the strategic value of the industry, especially to the country?
Sure. First of all, I think many people do not realize that phosphate is an essential key to the whole supply chain of our food system. Yeah. And phosphate is used in our food. It's also an important solvent for the gummy process in our palm oil processing. It is essential in all animal feed for the commercial farms. It is also an essential component of the NPK fertilizers. Okay. Having said that, the supply from our factory certainly ensure the continuous supply of phosphates for the whole food supply chain, and hence food security in the country. And this is undoubtedly been supported by the EC for our project. Yep. Now, unfortunately, we are in a chemical-based industry, of which chemical plants are very capital intensive. Yes. In fact, the bigger plant which we are putting up at Semelaju, Sarawak, will cost us 1.8 billion ringgit.
Just to build it, right?
The total cost of the construction and the other related costs, yes. It is that kind of a number we're looking at. And that will really position us in this region as a major producer of phosphate. Okay. Lumut is far too small. It is only 5 acres of land, and we've since fully built up. In contrast, Semelaju, we've bought land measuring 350 acres. You can imagine the scale of operations and the kind of integration synergy we'll have from the various phosphate
imagine
plants.
The talents needed for such a big endeavor.
Well, we've put in all these years of accumulated know-how, processes, and also we've been building up the full technical team.
Okay, I always ask this to great entrepreneurs that come across this set. What more do you hope from Malaysians? Because sometimes you start something, but if only there are Malaysians doing that, and you want to network with that, and if only there are talents down this path. So what would you want for your industry from Malaysians?
Certainly, we like to encourage the spin-off of the various value-added downstream industries using our products as their raw material.
I see.
And for that reason, I think the Sarawak State has been very kind to reserve the adjacent land of about 300 acres to ensure that when fully developed, this whole area will be the first phosphate chemicals hub of
I
Sarawak.
like SCORE already. I must go there and visit. I promise you that. Doctor, if you can link, what more do you want from Malaysians?
Well, I think we're in the biotech space still a little bit in the development stage. I don't think we're young kids anymore per se. We're sort of like
you're running toddlers.
I think we're like advanced teenagers.
Okay.
I wouldn't even call it young, advanced teenagers. But I like the idea of. I really like to see the idea of more synergy among companies. We try wherever possible to work with Malaysian companies, because I think ultimately the goal, one of my most satisfying goals, would say, we've made it entirely from scratch here.
Cool.
I think that it's a long ways to go, but we are working. In fact, right now, some of the plastics that we use are being manufactured in this country.
Great.
So prior to that, they had no experience in our kind of technology. So in a way, they're working with us. They're doing some of the development for us.
And new doors will open.
New doors will open.
That's exactly what you wanted and intended all along. One of the key objectives. And what more do you want?
Well, I mean, Lim is, as I said, he's building a 1.8 billion ringgit project. And the next step for us will be to grow the secondary, the downstream project, because that will be maybe double or triple the size.
Yes.
That's what we want. I mean, everything that we see that we hope to see it grows together with other entities.
Cool. I know I can trust MTDC. You should trust them too. They have done great jobs. We'll bring more stories if Datuk give consent to it. Thank you so much to all my three great guests for today. Datuk as usual, Doctor and also Saudara Lim. Thanks to you for watching. Send in your own views to all the platforms that we have: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, or download our digital application, iOS or Apple, so you can give your critique while watching great discourse like this on your favorite gadget. That's it for tonight. I'll see you in another episode very, very soon. Goodbye. Thank you so much.